Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. As I said in the intro, today my guest is Lora. Cheadle, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, we haven't talked in a while because she's been on the podcast before. And, you know, once Emmett makes friends, they stay friends forever. So she's back and she has some new things to incorporate into our life. And one of those big things is, I would say floss, but she's flipped it around. So now you've got a flaunt. What?
I do.
What is flaunt?
Flaunt. Well, flaunt is actually an acronym, and it's also the title of my brand new book and of a lot of my programs. And the acronym FLAUNT stands for F, find your fetish. L, it's a good kind of fetish. Come on, don't go there. L, laugh out loud. AU, which is the golden center, which means accept unconditionally. N is navigate the negative. And T is trust in your truth. And those are the 5 steps that really help us step into what I like to call our naked self-worth. And what that means is instilling in ourselves a sense of worth that is so strong we can't be undone by criticism, by other people's opinions of us. And instead of constantly seeking to conform to other people's ideals or even to our own internal ideals, that we start validating ourselves for who we are.
You know, it's really poignant that you actually say this and you've come up with this, because we are in a culture where we are just borrowing from the things that our eyeballs capture. Think Instagram, think Snapchat, and even if you get younger, you can think of, I can't think of the name of the app that my daughter has, but she's looking at what other people are doing, and there's no real innovation. It's just people regurgitating or copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah.
So how do people find their life fetish?
You know, the 5 steps of FLAUNT really help you get there. But first, before we even go into that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But first, there's more. What I really like to do is have people step back and think about their greatest pain point. Because often the things that bug us the most are really that thing that we need to bring out and to not hide anymore. And the reason it's a trigger for us, the reason it's a problem for us is because something's there, you know, in spirit or the universe or God or whoever you believe is just kind of putting that thing in the forefront of your mind so you can start uncovering it and reveal all that juicy goodness that's there.
So have you unveiled this? Have you had test subjects for this?
I have been doing this, believe it or not, since, let me think, 2006 or 2007.
Wow. So you went through the crash and everything, and you're still flaunting.
Yeah, I am.
So what was it about you? What was it about you that said, I have to find my thing? Well, first, let's go back a little bit. Let's reintroduce. Like Jay-Z says, allow me to introduce myself. So, you are a spiritual person, but you are also one of those people who can live in your head as well because you're an attorney.
Yes.
But on the other side of that, the yin to your yang is your creative, intuitive self. Can you talk a little bit about both of those real quick?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you asked because so many people are stereotyped that they can only be one or the other. And you know what? We can be whoever we are. And yes, I love researching. I love problem solving. I love analysis. All that stuff from being a lawyer and working hard. I really love. But I grew up with a very strong sense of intuition, and I grew up with a mom who really fostered that, and who was open to exploring different religious traditions and different religious beliefs, and being open to saying, how does this work, and who are you listening to, and is that an angel, or is that a guide, or is that Jesus, or let's talk about this. So I feel like I was able to elevate, for lack of a better term, kind of across the board spiritually. And then it was okay for me to also slip into my headspace and to work and to study. And nobody ever told me, Lora, you're female, you can't go to law school. Nobody ever told me that. Thank goodness.
Now, let's go into the fetish part. Because this can go in many different directions. Because the last time we talked, we were talking about burlesque.
Yes.
And how is the burlesque, how is that in your life right now?
Burlesque it's kind of the crux of a lot of my work. The full title of my book is Flaunt, Drop Your Cover and Reveal Your Smart, Sexy, and Spiritual Self.
See, I knew there was a tie-in.
Oh, there is. There is. And I use the concepts of burlesque because we all cover ourselves. We all want to fit in so badly that we pretend to be whoever it is that we think that we need to be. So I use the concepts of burlesque, which, is revealing revealing yourself, taking articles of clothing off. And by the way, burlesque is never, ever, ever about fully getting naked. It's about teasing.
Yeah.
What are you going to see? What are you not going to see? Ooh, did you see something you're not supposed to? And that's what I do intellectually and emotionally and spiritually through Flaunt. Most humans have a rich spiritual life inside. We don't all share it because we're afraid, that might go against my religion, or what I'm thinking and sensing might not be accepted. So we hide aspects of our spirituality. We hide pieces of our intellect because we don't want to be perceived as too smart or not smart enough or not smart in one area or, arrogant. So we cover parts of what we know.
Were you looking into my life or something?
I know, go figure. And then same thing, whether it's being sexy. Sexy is just a great buzzword, but it's beauty. It's how we look. We can't age. We can't get, God forbid we gain weight. We can't get fat. We can't be out of shape. We can't. But by the same token, if we reveal ourselves too much and we look amazing, are you asking for it? What's the message you're sending people? It's like we can't be too much and we can't be too little. So we just end up covering all that we really are, when instead, if we just allowed ourselves to shine and be the size we are and be the weight we are and have the color hair that we have and do what we want that makes us happy, but not worry about it, we would all connect as humans so much more. And things like the Me Too movement, the mental health crisis, all of these different things, it wouldn't be hush hush. It wouldn't be, alcoholism. It would be like, yeah, that's something we discuss.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, you know what I mean? There's all of these taboo subjects that are present in everybody's life. So if they're present across the board, why are they a taboo subject? Why don't we just reveal it and talk about it?
I realized this, though, and I was thinking about this the other day. Most people are not free.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even partially on the free boat or in the free water. They're just not free. And those people who are free can suffer some things unless they're just really strong in their freedom. But that's the problem is we have been programmed not to be free. We have programmed to go along to get along. And it's changing, and I've said this on the last couple of episodes. It's been like a reoccurring theme about this age of Aquarius, and we're in the feminine age. And things are changing. And maybe I can ask you this question. This is kind of off topic. But I always fear, like, when a power shift changes, you have one of two things that can happen. Either when the new power comes into play, they can bring the old along, or they can end up doing the same thing that the previous power did to them. Yes. And I'm wondering if that's going to happen, or is it happening, or is it just part of the change that people have to go through before they go, oh, wait a minute, we thought we had it right, but it's not inclusionary, kind of like diversity.
Right.
Do you think all of this can come into play and people can find their sparkle in all of this minutia that's going on?
I do. I really have high hopes. I hear exactly what you're saying. And I think that's the immature development. That's, the change taking place in an immature form. And yes, I do think, whether we talk about it, the swing of the pendulum or whatever, yes, we go from repression to kind of that flip. We're going to now repress our oppressors. But flaunt is about all of us being who we are. There's a lot of people that I have worked with in the past who are like, take down the patriarchy. Well, yes and no. I can't take down the patriarchy without reestablishing a system that will take that down, and that's not what I want. It's revealing. The takedown happens within. It's when I will no longer choose to mold myself into your vision of who I should be. And I am also granting you permission to now be somebody different.
We've come a long way. And this is kind of a masculine, feminine idea because, men are very repressed.
Yes.
Or if they do have their freedom, they're kind of like me. They want to do it by themselves. Look, I want to go do this thing. Leave me alone.
Yes.
So I'm going to be this person when I'm with you. And I'm going to be by myself and be myself. And, women I've seen historically, because I don't want to get too like lumping everybody in, but women are more social. Women share their feelings. I would give you the best instance. Here's something that women do that you will never see men do. Women get nude in front of each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be friends. You could just have, okay, my girlfriend's coming over and she's bringing her friends. I don't like this. Can we change? Oh yeah, let's go in the room and you all do your thing and change. Men will be like, nah, I'll be back. But that's two different dynamics where women are accepting of things that men aren't. And I understand why they're saying take down the patriarch. But like you said, how can we all, through your works, find that common ground so that we can flaunt, find our sparkle, and live like that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When I was talking about the 5 steps, and it is kind of a system and it does answer your question, but I think I said the AU, which is the atomic symbol for gold. That's where the magic happens. And that's accepting unconditionally. And part of that unconditional acceptance means looking at how we have been raised, looking at our culture, looking at what is a norm, what is a taboo, and then deciding for ourselves, does that fit or does that not fit? And sometimes it's hard. Yeah, but it's a very thoughtful thing. For instance, and I'm just making stuff up, but oftentimes when I see men get very defensive about, nudity or something, what were you taught, or what are you afraid of? And being able to take it down into that next level. Oh, this was taught to me because, or figuring out what I talk about is our labels, our roles, and our scripts. Was that something that was modeled for you, so you just adopt it? Mm-hmm. Or did somebody specifically come in and say, oh, never, ever, ever change in front of somebody else? Well, if somebody did say that, is it because they had an experience with a sexual assault and they're trying to protect you? There might be a reason, and it could just be something that's been handed down generation at a time, and there's no reason behind it, and nobody's ever stopped to think, what does this mean? Yeah,
that reminds me of the story. It reminds me of the story. family's cooking for Thanksgiving, and the mom is cooking a ham, and she cuts the end off the ham, and she pops it in the oven. And the daughter says, "Why do you cut the ends off the ham?" She's like, "That's all how it's always been done." But she says, "But why are you doing it?" She's like, "Because my mom did it." So they call grandma, and grandma says, and they ask grandma, "So why do we always cut the ends off the ham?" And grandma says, "Because my oven was too small and it wouldn't fit."
I love that. That's exactly it. And we just live on autopilot so often, and we're busy, we're all busy. We're all tired. But there are certain things where it's fun to self-reflect, and it's also imperative sometimes to say, why am I doing this? Or why do I have this belief?
Now, I'm going to ask you something, because this is really pertinent for me, because you have this thing about naked self-worth. Mm-hmm. And last year, I interviewed some proprietors of a naturist resort.
Wow.
So I really understand naked self-worth, so to speak. But how does your naked self-worth come into being outside of bearing literally all?
Exactly. And just for the record, I do dance burlesque, but I don't bear it all. How I define that and what is important for me is so much of us have self-worth based on our car, our clothing, the brand of our handbag, our husband, our wife, the number of kids we have, the job title, the number of letters behind our name. Our self-worth is based on everything else around us. And it's not that that's not a great accomplishment. And it's not that your car isn't amazing. And it's not that, your kids are amazing prodigies. That's fine. That's good. Be proud. But who are you exclusive of all of that stuff? And if we don't have an identity exclusive of that, we don't have anything, because everything in life is transitory. Our bodies change as we age. People die. Jobs get lost. You can even have Alzheimer's or some brain altering thing that takes away your capacity to reason. But who are you as a being? Who are you as a spirit? And I really think it's vitally important that we all are connected to that sparkle inside. What makes Emmett Emmett?
Oh, that's no. It's not really that hard. I'm just trying to impress myself. So it's really funny some of the things that you're talking about, because these are things that I was having a monologue with in my car is, who are we trying to impress? And I'm always doing things because I want to impress myself, just to see if I can fail.
Yeah.
Because I might not. And a lot of times I do. But sometimes when I do fail, it's because I just didn't know. I was ignorant. I didn't know the process. But by failing, I've learned the process. And so people ask me, this guy said to me, he's like, "Hey, man, here's a lot of layers to your onion." I'm like, "There sure are, because I failed a lot." But I've also succeeded a lot because I didn't give up. And, that's really important that you say that, because we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And many people don't know that. They think we're just these bags that are here just to kind of do it, whatever that is. But we're here to learn and have this experience. And it's just awesome. It's just awesome. So what tips can you give us, or me, or those that are listening, to kind of hone in and develop your sense of naked self-worth?
Exactly. I want to take it right back to that fetish piece. I know. Finding your fetish, to me, is finding that thing that you do that lights you up. And the example that I like to give is watching children play. children play for the sake of play.
Yeah.
They play because it brings them joy. They don't play because it's going to give them a career boost. They don't play because somebody told them you better get outside and play for 8 hours and then come home. They play because it's fun. And when it's not fun, they pivot. They put down the dolls and they grab the jump rope. They put down the jump rope, they jump on the swings. Because they're driven from that internal sense of, hey, this is fun. Hey, let's try this. Oh, didn't work. Hey, look at here. And that's what finding your fetish is to me. It's experimenting. And I liked how you were talking about failing. It's trying those things. Ooh, I've always wanted this. Nope, doesn't work for me. Hey, let's try this. Maybe this will work. Pivot, play, have fun. And until we're back in touch with that internal sense of what brings me joy and what feels good in my heart and my body and my mind, we don't really stand a chance.
All right. I have to ask you, how did you get into burlesque? What was that thing that said I could do this?
It was such divine intervention. I was an attorney. I was a mom. I used to be a dancer. I danced. I was like on the Pom Squad in college and in high school. I love dancing. I love that freedom. That's my fetish. That's my passion. I've taught fitness since 1988. I've taught fitness forever and I love it. One of my friend's daughters took a pole dancing class. Well, my favorite thing on recess was playing on the bars. And I thought, that sounds like monkey bars. I want to take that class. And nobody wanted to go with me. And I talk about it a lot in my book, the whole going to the pole studio in my minivan. I was not cool.
Those women have incredible upper body strength.
Yes. It's the most empowering fun. If you like playing on bars, it's fun. And the studio there had a burlesque class. And I thought, I don't know what burlesque is. I mean, isn't that a movie with Cher? I don't know. What is that? And then I learned it's from burlesque is a mockery. It's a parody. It's tease. It's play. It's very intellectual humor, which of course appealed to me. And I just thought, you know what? I am really tired of trying to be Instagram perfect, the perfect mom, the perfect wife. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to get up there and I'm going to dance my heart out. And if you don't like my body, I don't really care. And I'm over it because this is my playtime and I'm going to have fun for me.
Awesome. So your constituency is probably, and I'm assuming here, women.
Yes,
or your
mostly.
Yeah, or your perfect customer would be a woman. So what advice can you offer them who are like, yeah, I'm down with it, but I feel a little trapped. I got expectations from my kids, my husband, my mom and dad, but I want to change. And I don't want to just, throw the cloak off and everybody goes, oh my God, what's the baby steps?
Yeah. Oh, good question. The N, navigating the negative, which is that, fourth step of FLAUNT, that's all about those baby steps. And what it is, the first thing that I like to ask people is that really true? Would you really freak somebody out? Or do you have the idea inside that this is going to freak somebody out?
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, it's an internal thing that we have built up that other people don't care about, wouldn't notice, or would actually maybe even support and say, you know what? Oh my gosh, my whole life I repressed myself too, and what I didn't do was, so let's go do this together. So ask yourself, is that really true? And what would happen if I just tried?
Right. So how many pages is your book? What kind of read is it?
Oh, it's a fun read. It's 250 pages.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, exactly. The first chapter is really fun. Chapter 2 goes deep. It's 3 parts. The first one is recognizing and releasing those labels, roles, and scripts.
Right.
And we can recognize, and then you get into that release and you're like, oh, this is kind of some deep internal work. It's a releasing of paradigms, cultural paradigms, gender identities.
Yeah, that's real.
Hard.
Yeah,
it's real. Yeah. And then the second part is revealing, and that's revealing your heart and taking those baby steps of just trying and seeing what's fun. Because sometimes we think we want something and then we start dabbling in it and we're like, no, I really don't. I want something else. And being gentle and loving and curious with ourselves to see what's out there. And then the third step is re-choreographing. And that's, how do I marry this life that I've had with these things that I want to do? And how do I re-choreograph it in a way that I keep my job if I want to, keep my family if I want to, and really move forward in a healthy, balanced, satisfying way? Because you're right, we can't all just go to Mexico.
You know, this sounds like it would be perfect for those people who are newly empty nesters, or those people who are going through a relationship transition in their life, you know, because sometimes you can get lost in your relationship and you forget who you are or who you want it to be. So this makes perfect sense. So where can people find the book?
They can find the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and anywhere books are sold.
So
they can also find it on my website and on New World Library's website.
And that's LORACHEADLE.com. And the book is Flaunt. Drop your cover and reveal your smart, sexy, and spiritual self.
You got it. Thank you, Emmett.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for being available so that we could talk about this, because, you know, you've hit on a topic that is very poignant today, is we are in a transitional state. We used to have one of two states, male and female. That was it. Today, and I was just speaking with a friend of mine, there are people who don't identify as male and or female, or a combination of the two, and that constituency is growing, and it's not who you think it is. It can be anybody, because sometimes people are identifying with their spirit versus their body. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Are you going to do any speaking or workshops or appearances so people can get that full energy of you with this upcoming release?
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. I have so many options. My free, easy option is it's called Sparkle Sundays, and it's November 17th through December. Is it the 7th or 8th, whatever that Sunday is?
Okay.
And it's just a half an hour on Sundays where I just teach for a half an hour, and then we have Q&A. And it's about finding your sparkle and maintaining your sparkle through the holiday season, where you're supposed to be all magical, but everybody is really like, I'm stressed and I'm tired and I'm broke.
So where are you going to do this?
I do that online. I've got a Facebook group called the Flaunt Flock.
Okay.
And I just go live in that group every Sunday evening during those 4 weeks. And then, of course, you can join the Flaunt Flock on Facebook, and then that'll be the information. And then I email out worksheets and information to support, so we can keep our energy and our sparkle up through the holiday season. I've got a ton of different speaking engagements. You can find those on my website. And for people who are like, I'm in, I've got a 90-day coaching program that is January, February, and March. And that's every Monday night. And that's intense. That's a couple of workshops a week, and that's an hour coaching every week.
Are you doing your own podcast too?
I am.
So,
and that's
what
on
is
my
it?
website too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we conclude. Here's what it is. You get up and then you say thank you. Why? Because you had consciousness. And if you were able to move from the position you were in when you found that you were conscious, say thank you again. If you can move, get up. Move to the place where the thing that is most of us, which is water, what you're gravitating to, before you get into that, take a look at yourself in that state that you're in. Probably a little unkept, probably a little crusty. but still, there's no one like you. Look in your eyes. They're like nebulae in the sky because we are all fractal and we are all in one. If you are feeling a little down, we have people like Lora who can help you out. And if you feel like you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot in that rope and just hang there. Hang there till you get a breath, till you get rested, and then climb up. So, tie a knot, keep hanging, hang till you can, then pull yourself up and start over again. Till next time, love you all. Peace.